Bore da, good morning and welcome to the webinar this morning on interactive quizzing. I'm Ceri, Anwen James. I teach in Edern, which is a Welsh medium school in Cardiff. We opened in 2012 and we use lots of digital technology as part of our work in school. Now, as you see here, you'll need a device to hand apart from the screen that you're watching. So that will enable you to take part in the interactive part of the session this morning. It's going to be quite hands-on for you to take an active part in the different quizzes. This is the screenshot you've probably seen on the documentation from the consortium who have organised the webinar this morning. So thank you to CSC for organising. This is the shot you would have seen, and this is actually interactive where you're able to click on the different buttons. So I'll share this in the chat later on so people will have access then to that presentation. Okay, so we have a device ready. First thing, before we start to look at the different types of quizzes that I want to show you this morning, a few questions about what makes a good quiz. And the really important thing here is that you need to know what you want to get out of it and what you want your pupils to achieve. And it's all, as usual, in a good classroom, it's all about the pedagogy, it's all about progress, and it's not about the technology. Obviously, the technology is going to help you on your way, and it's really important that you choose the correct set of technology, the correct set of options, but it is really all about the old-fashioned progress, pedagogy, and finding the tech to go hand in hand with that. Okay, so if we look here at what we can use in a quiz. Now, the different interactive quizzes I'll be showing you this morning many of them will be sort of question and answer. Lots of them will be multiple choice. We just look at a couple of principles here. What we can use in a quiz. So lots of them are based on sort of two columns when you set them up. So you can have words and definitions, you can have words and translations, especially if you're working in a Welsh medium school or if you're teaching modern languages. Then you can have questions and answers, which are obviously suitable for every subject. Also suitable for all subjects are close exercises, which are gap fills. All sorts of maths questions are really suitable for different interactive quizzing, and then questions about understanding. So all these are options. So if you're a primary practitioner this morning joining us, I know a number of you are, you would be able to look at these type of things and use them across the curriculum. If you're a secondary specialist, then you would be able to maybe use whatever is relevant to your subject. Lots of the quizzes have multiple choice options, and these can be really, really effective as a learning tool. Now, in MFL, for example, there are multiple choice questions in the GCSE exams. So it's something that we train our pupils to use. You can have 3 completely wrong answers, which is something that I wouldn't suggest, but you can have sort of near misses. You know, especially with maths or with spelling, with punctuation, you can match tenses and time phrases, you can have different mathematical units, matching definitions and things like this. And then if we ask ourselves the question of why, lots has been written recently about retrieval practice and how to do this effectively, and Ebbinghaus forgetting curve and things. And one of the things that is suggested is regular low stakes quizzing, where you would hold a quiz in the classroom. It wouldn't be branded as a test. You do low stakes quizzing regularly where there's nothing really for the children to lose out on, but just that regular practice so that they're able to build up their knowledge. Build a continuum, which is obviously a word that we've heard quite often with the curriculum for Wales. And obviously, with lots of schools now having, you know, taught from afar for quite a long time now, looking at a blended learning approach, this is a really effective way of checking in on your pupils. You know, we've had the check-in, catch-up, but you know, you need to check in on pupils as far as their subject is concerned as well, not just from their health and well-being. So sort of checking in with the pupils with a low stakes quiz where it's non-threatening, and that's a really good way of ensuring and finding out as a teacher where they've got and where you need to take them next, you know, as part maybe of your wider assessment for learning strategy. So the key question before you create any quiz, you know, some teachers consider them to be just glorified entertainment, which obviously, you know, they can be entertaining, which is fine. There is no problem with that. But you need to decide, what do your pupils need to develop? What do they need to understand as a result of your quiz? And then decide from that what tech best helps you to achieve that. Yeah, so we're going to show you the first thing. It's called Mentimeter. So on the device that you have to hand, if you type in menti.com in your browser, and then this is the code 455802, and there you will have some questions. Now the first question is asking you about how you're feeling this morning. I'm sure we'll have some interesting answers coming through. Remember, this is being recorded. So if you go to menti.com 455802 and then start answering the questions. So I'm going to leave the presentation now and go over to the Mentimeter website, which is free of charge, and you're able to access it, create an account, and then we look at that now. So dyma ni. Okie dokie. If I move this across, just present here. Okay. Ooh, I feel good. Excellent. Excellent. So you see here, as different people in your class here this morning in the webinar, as the people contribute by typing in their questions on their individual device, we then get the answers coming together as a word cloud. So we've got some Welsh speakers in this morning. Bore da chi gyd, wedi blino. I think we can all agree with wedi blino, tired. So the more people that type in a word, the bigger it gets. So if you can hide your screen so the pupils don't see what's coming through, and then you can see then in real time which words become larger and larger. So you're able to see how people are feeling, but also from a teaching and learning point of view, very often I collect vocabulary at the beginning of a lesson, maybe topic related vocabulary, maybe we want to do some descriptions or some opinion work, I collect adjectives. So it's really handy for one word things. If you're teaching Welsh, you ask the children not to mutate the words, because if you have bendigedig and unvendigedig, they will appear as two different things, in the same way that if something is not going to be spelt correctly, the computer doesn't recognize the fact that they're the same word. They have to be exactly the same in order for them to become bigger. I'm sad to hear that somebody's feeling stressed this morning. This is probably the last thing you need, is this webinar, but hopefully this is going to give you some good ideas for September. So people are still contributing. The words, every time the words move, that means that somebody else has clicked to add their contribution. So thank you for doing that. So the consensus in CSE this morning is that we are tired, but we are happy, and also we are interested. So that is probably a fair representation of the life of a teacher at this point in the term. And I'm really pleased that you're happy and that you are also interested this morning. Okay, so if I come out of this and then go to the next slide by pressing escape. and then go to the next slide. Oh, I think you've already done this, have you? We have a look at what people want to achieve this morning. Present. Okay, so yeah, what you hope to achieve this morning. So with the Mentimeter, it can look differently. There are different options here. So the words cloud is obviously for single words, and this is an option where you can add sentences, and you can add these in. You know, you can ask a question to your classes, and then they can respond. You can either have them stationary on the screen, you can have them scrolling, you can have them one at a time if you want, so you can go through them. So this is another option with Mentimeter. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to send you off into a breakout room. So go back here now to our presentation. No, not that one, this one. Yeah, so the first question I want you to answer this morning is, how could you use Mentimeter in your class? Okay, so I'm going to send you off to a breakout room where you'll arrive with a few other people. Obviously, lots of you may know each other this morning, so if you just say, hello, I'm so-and-so and I come from so-and-so. We'll be in the room for only 2 minutes, and then we'll do the digital version of think, pair, share. So you can think now, you can share your ideas, pair your ideas in the breakout room, and then share them in the chat when we return back in together. So, hiya Oshan, Tinyan, or somebody's making a noise. So, off we go to the breakout rooms. There are 26 people here. So we send you into 6 rooms. Okay. It'll ask you for permission to go. So please click yes. Otherwise, you know, we could have people left on their own. So we're going to send you off into a breakout room, 2 minutes, and then I'll call you straight back in. Okay, enjoy yourselves. Okay, so everybody should be returning from your breakout rooms. Yeah. Okay, are we all back from the breakout rooms? Okay, so if you open the chat, which will probably be at the bottom of your screen, and we'll have a little number by it to say how many messages have arrived there since you last looked at it. So what we want you to do now is to answer this question: how could you use Mentimeter in your class? Now, with the previous sessions, lots of people were really attracted to this because it's anonymous. There are no children's names are attached to the answers, because in the cloud, just the words appear. So that's something that maybe you can bear in mind there, that you will maybe not know who's answered with Mentimeter. So something that you want to do anonymously, you'll be able to then use that. So some answers are starting to come through. To teach technical vocabulary per specific discipline, for example, in science or maths, in technology, I think vocabulary would be really handy for everybody as well, in Welsh, in English, in MFL specifically. So when you're saying to assess end of theme knowledge, you could assess the general knowledge of across the classroom, but you wouldn't obviously know which children had been contributing there because there are no names attached. Yes, it is a nice break in a webinar session. Yeah, building up ideas for writing, that's a really good point there. Yeah, revision, previous learning, gathering views and opinions, starters in Welsh and MFL, I would say also in English there. Yes, definitely pupil voice. It's really handy because, you know, if you want to have everybody's opinions, but not, you know, the children know then that there are no names attached. Yeah, some questions, especially with the second option where the things flick, that you can, yeah, see which questions they want to ask about a particular topic. Yeah, Richard is correct here. Low stakes assessment, prior knowledge, especially with the fact that no names are attached to it. Yeah, somebody say here the really important point, Louise is saying that it's really good for children who may not want to speak out at all. That is really, really important because here it gives it, you know, the digital device will give everybody a voice. Yeah, and also Rachel's saying here, it would encourage people to take part because they don't have to worry about getting things wrong. Looking at quotes and themes, Megan, a really good idea there. Lots of things here about vocabulary, specific knowledge for different disciplines, pupil voice. It is anonymized. You'd obviously have your classroom procedures for that, and, you know, rules and regulations as to what is acceptable. We have an acceptable use policy in my school for when children are using technology. And there's some other ideas here, misconceptions, popcorn ideas for a topic. Krista, would you like to tell us a little bit more about popcorn ideas? It's not a term I'm familiar with. Ruth is saying a good to start topic. And then some identify misconceptions. So that's our digital think, pair, share for the first activity this morning. So diolch yn fawr iawn I chi. The next thing I want to show you is called quizzes. It's 1Z, then 2Zs. If you're going to look it up on the internet. So once again, it's web-based, that you can create an account online. And quizzes is really handy because you can have these different types of quiz. If I fill my screen with this again. So these are different types of quizzes you can write up in the quizzes platform, so that you can have multiple choice questions where only one answer is correct. but also you may want to have check boxes where more than one answer is correct. Because sometimes, you know, you do have that type of question as well. You can fill in the blanks. So these are the close exercises I was talking about at the beginning. You can have a poll where it's not marked and there isn't a correct or wrong answer. And then you can have an open-ended question where the children then would type their open-ended answers. So this is what the feedback looks like for you as a teacher. So obviously the children would put their names in here, so you'd know exactly who was answering. And then you can see here then the percentages for the different questions. You can see the misconceptions appearing here. These are exercises that I've done with my Year 9 German class, where they have to translate different verbs. To make sure they can understand the difference between present tense, past tense, etc. But the feedback here from an assessment for learning point of view is really clear. You know what they know, and you know what they're mixing up and things. You have your quizzes here. You can see the accuracy appearing here on the right hand side. So maybe you can revisit quizzes where the scores are low. You can do that maybe as retrieval practice after a few weeks. That's really handy here, because you know the app, well, the website keeps track of your scores. You can set it as homework. So this has been really handy now over lockdown, that you can set something, you can give a date, maybe in a week or in a fortnight, and dates, and you can set the time and things as well. So that is really handy. You can either play it live in class, or you can play it, the pupils can play it from home. So this is something that we've always used in the department, in Edern teaching MFL. So obviously it's been really, really powerful for us as a tool over the lockdown. Right, so we're going to have a game of quizzes now. So in your browser, once again, you go to joinmyquiz.com. Okay, joinmyquiz.com. And I need to leave this presentation now to go into the website. So we go here. So where are we? Just check that we are CSC snag. Right, okay, so we play it live. And we're going to play the classic mode. Everything is going to be jumbled up. We're going to have a leaderboard, shuffle questions, shuffle answers. We're going to have Welsh feedback. Okay, so these are all the options you go through, and then you can continue. And then you've gone to the website joinmyquiz.com, and this is the game code. So this is the magic number you need. 522670. Always give it to the children in German, so they have to listen to the numbers. So 522760, the first people are in, well done. So what I've done here is it's a slightly nonsense quiz, just to give you an idea of all the different types of question that you can put into the quiz. So I've got like an example of a multiple choice, a checkbox, a poll, so you can see really the adaptability of this quiz and this platform. So well done. There's 17 of you have already registered. You can see everybody pops in with a really annoying pop. And then we just wait a second or so for anybody else to join. So as I said, you can have a flavour now of all the different types of question. And, you know, people in the webinar today all teach different subjects. So you could think, oh yeah, this is a really good question for my subject. This wouldn't work, this wouldn't be relevant and things. Iawn, felly, I think we'll start. 22 of you are in, so there are 26 people in the session and there are 22 people in the quiz. So I think nearly everybody is in now. Everybody probably who wants to join has joined. So off you go. So you'll all be answering the questions in different order, and you'll have all randomized answers as well. So in class, they can't copy because they'll be on different questions at the same time. So, and obviously with 2 meter distancing, it's impossible to copy now, but you know, it on a normal day, they can't copy the person sitting next door. Okay, Bantanita. There we are. I was a bit worried for a while. The accuracy is up to 60%. It was on 0 for a while, so I'm not sure what you had as the first question, some of you. So you can see the leaderboard here. So Kate, well done. You're in the lead at the moment. The faster you answer, the more points you have. But obviously it's more important to answer correctly than it is to answer quickly. Oh, Scooby-Doo's with us this morning, Diane. Okay, Krista and Chloe, you need to get off the mark, otherwise we'll be running out of time and you won't have finished. You're now in the game, so we are waiting for some answers here. Oh, see, some of you are now on a orange streak. You have a flame on your score. Well done. Sarah is now on a blue flame. And Ed. Well done. Okay. So this is the top of our leaderboard. So you are now on purple streaks. So well done there. Yeah, Ella's joining the top of the leaderboard there. And I would say that Beth is nearly finished. It looks as if we've got one question left. So Richard is finished with lots of correct answers, that looks like. Well done, Richard. I think that's Richard George, who knows me quite well by now, so maybe that's an advantage in answering some of these questions. Okay, so I will close the quiz in a second, because we could be here all morning. Wait for everybody to finish. The people at the bottom here have lots of, so Julie, sorry, I'm going to take you out here. Remove the player.
Hi, Ceri. While we're waiting to finish, there was a question with regards to how secure Mentimeter is with regards to how anonymous it is. So I don't know whether you want me to answer that question now or wait for the wrap up.
Sorry, fi methu ffili clywed ti'n iawn oherwydd y gerddoriaeth.
Ah, okay, hold on. there was a question in the chat with regards to the security of Mentimeter. How secure is it with regards to the anonymity of users?
Yeah, it is. It is anonymous. I don't think there's any way. There's no way do the pupils put their name in.
No, and also I've looked up on commonsense.org to get the actual answer, and they encrypt data at rest and while it's being transmitted as well. So it's fully encrypted. So there is no risk with regards to anonymity, just in case people were concerned with using it for things like well-being and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay, diolch, Oshan. Right, so I'm going to end the quiz now because most people have finished. So we can see here now the leaderboard. We can see the accuracy of the class. You people in the webinar is 78%. So this is really handy. You know, you can track it from lesson to lesson. And I say, you know, to pupils, maybe if we're learning something massive, like lots of adjectives or lots of verbs, I will say, you know, last lesson your accuracy was this. This lesson your target is going to be this. And they always then work towards that. So when you end the game, I have to end it manually because not all of you have finished. So third was Ella, second was Beth, and first was Richard. And then we will have some really handy statistics coming through now. So these are all the people who did really well. Well done, everybody. The mastery party. And then the results are coming through now. So the 78% we knew already. The toughest question was question number 7, which was incorrect by 14 of you. So this is really handy once again from a teaching and learning point of view that we can go back then and look what was the problem with question 7. No surprises here that question 5 was the longest one because it was the open-ended one where you could write. Obviously, usually when I do a quiz, I've got the same type of question for every you know, same format of question for every one of the questions in the quiz, which means when they take much longer for one, it obviously means that they need lots of thinking time, there's cognitive load there. So then I go back then and revisit that and look at why maybe that was more difficult. Obviously, when you're teaching MFL, you know, you want them to be able to remember things really quickly, especially if you want that, you know, those words or those patterns for oral work. So, you know, you don't really have 42 seconds thinking time, usually when you're speaking. So, you know, we would go after things like that. And interesting facts, one question had an accuracy of less than 40%. So it's time to investigate. So this is the overview. And then you can look at the questions here as well. So if we can go straight down to question number 7, because we know that's the one that's caused us problems. The Berliner Philharmoniker. Okay, so that would be, you know, is obviously of no consequence this morning, but you would be able to see here what they got wrong. And, you know, you would be able then to revisit that with them and go over it in lessons and, you know, revisit that question and maybe come back to it again in another lesson. Although in the following lesson or maybe in a week's time. So this is handy. You've got all the data here, and then you can also, when you exit, you also can go through the data on an individual basis. So there are quizzes that have been created by other people that you would be able to use as well. Okay, but obviously you can create your own new quiz and they are really easy. You just put in the question and the answer. You can add photos like the chocolate bars or the Berliner Philharmoniker. You would be able to add those photos in there. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed discovering quizzes. So the next question, how could you use quizzes? So think now about the different options like the checkboxes, the multiple choice, the poll, the open-ended questions. So once again, we're going to go to the breakout rooms for 2 minutes only. I'll set my timer and I'll get my phone out. So if I go to here, more, breakout rooms, I think maybe would you like to go to the same rooms or would you like to see different people? Go to the same rooms. Okay, open all rooms. Off you go for 2 minutes. So we are discussing how would you use Mentimeter? No, we've done that one. How would you use quizzes? in school and also from home as a distance learning option or as homework. Okie dokie. Shall I recreate them, shuffle them around maybe? Recreate all rooms. There we are. Shuffled you all around and we are opening our rooms now. Off you go. Okay. 2 minutes. Starting now. Lovely, 2 minutes are done. Lovely. Okay, so I think you're returning from the breakout rooms, is that correct? Yeah, good. Somebody's nodding, thank you very much for nodding. And thumbs up, that's even better. It's good when somebody nods. I know that it's gone okay. It's quite a strange thing, isn't it, to be sent off there. And it's really good, I think. Really handy. Okay, so those of you who have already arrived back, do you want to go straight to the chat to type in how would you use quizzes in the classroom or as distance learning? How would you use that?
Ceri, I'm not sure if you mentioned or if everyone missed it, but you said at the beginning you were waiting for everyone to get into the class, but you don't actually have to do that with quizzes, do you?
No, you can start it. You can start it and it's really handy. And yeah, that slow coaches then would have to catch up. Okay, so quite a few people are, somebody sent me a private message saying, what time does this finish? And we have a staff meeting. So if you need to leave, please do so. You know, you don't need to apologize. You can just, you know, end your call and then off you go. So starter activity, some ideas here. Recap on previous learning, use a way to check prior knowledge, to assess at the end of a topic and check the progress. A comment here from Louise. Liked how the graphics made it fun. It's more engaging than forms. We've had that comment several times in different sessions. So good for starters and plenaries, end of topic, starters, recalling quotations, context revision, check-in on a distance learning activity. Yeah, Sonia's saying she loved the variety of question styles, and the analysis features was a real strength. I totally agree with that, because I'm able to really go after the, you know, the things that cause the biggest problems and use them as a teaching point for maybe for the beginning of the next lesson. Is there a way to voice the questions for children who have reading difficulties? There's one option now where you can have voice, where you can put a voice recording. I think that was one of the questions where I recorded myself. I'm not sure if you were able to hear that. Some people have said they haven't been able to hear it. But at the end of the day, it is a reading exercise, unfortunately, here with the multiple choice. But I think you can put photos and things in with the multiple choice options. So maybe that would be something that you can consider. And then Sarah's saying here, the open-ended questions are really good. Pupils can show logical reasoning in maths. And then we've got some comment here, insert statistical graphs and options. So yeah, I've had another question here. Will there be a recording? There will be a recording. I'll have to edit it and put it together, and then I'll put it up on YouTube. The Welsh medium one has gone up from before already, and then there will be a recording of this one as well, because I did remember to press the button this morning and it has worked, I hope, because the red light is still flashing. Okay, I'm trying to send you a message, Krista, but you're not, it's not coming through. It says you're not in the meeting, which is obviously not true. Yeah, so there are all sorts of ideas coming through about statistical graphs and options for interpretation. Yeah. And then Sue was saying that the success rate percentages create a nice level of challenge, can help build in and stretch and challenge pupils. Definitely agree that. I give mine a target, you know, at the beginning of a lesson, especially if you've got high sets, that they really respond to a target and a percentage and to beat their scores from last time. That is something really handy. Okay, so moving on from quizzes. If you've got any questions about that, you can put them in the chat, and Oshan will deal with those, or we could discuss them at the end of the webinar. We're now going to look at questions in Google Classroom. Now, I'm not sure if you've realised here, you know, in Google Classroom is something I'm sure that you all become really familiar with recently. My Google Classroom is all in Welsh, so you have to bear with us. When you create in classwork, you click on create, and most people don't go past assignment, okay? But the third option is to create a question. And I have been doing this with some of my older pupils recently, putting a question in there. So writing a question in German, and then they have to answer it here. So this is quite good. You know, it's obviously not a quiz, but for interaction with pupils who are learning from home, I think it's been really good. So I've blanked the names out, and then you can respond to them then, and, you know, have a dialogue with them there. So this is a question where I asked them, what did they do last week? And obviously what I really wanted them to do was to practice past tense verbs. And these are the sorts of answers that I've had back from some of the pupils. So it's not quizzing, you know, but they are questions, and it is interactive, and you are able then to contact the children back and forth. Okay, maybe the big game changer for us as a school over the lockdown has been Google Forms. Although somebody has commented they prefer quizzes because, you know, it looks better and it looks nicer and things like that. But obviously from a teacher health and well-being point of view, and you know, a workload point of view, is the fact that you can set them up to be self-marking. So it means that the children get immediate feedback, and you don't need to mark them, because you will have set up, you know, you obviously have to set up all the answers, and if it's wrong you can put in explanations there, and you know, solution, especially it's things like maths. You can give them the workings out and things, and it's quite a lot of work maybe to set up in the first place properly, rather than just correct and incorrect. But the pupils can get immediate responses, from you without you actually having to mark them there and then during the day. So some people don't know where Google Forms are. So when you are in your Google Drive, you click on the left-hand side, New, Newydd, and then it looks like this. And once again, some people don't go past docs, sheets and slides. If you click on More, it gives you all these other options. And I would really recommend trying out these other options. Google Sites is something we use loads of. We've created loads of sites in Pro Edern, but we've created loads before, but even over the lockdown, we've created some more. You can create maps, Google Drawings. The Jamboard is something that we've started using recently in Pro Edern. It's really handy for collaborative. It's like a collaborative whiteboard. And then here are the Google Forms. Okay, so the purple logo, Google Forms. And this is all in your Google Drive from Hub, all free of charge, all in one place. Fine, so here you can see some of the functionality. You have an oversight here of, not an oversight, an overview of the marks that pupils will have had in a particular quiz. So you can see that's a really good indicator for you of how they've done. Then you can have, feedback as to which questions were wrong often. So you can see here for various quizzes where the problems are, so you can go and tackle then these immediately. You have feedback as to how many pupils from different classes have responded to different tasks. And also you have, like in quizzes, you have the feedback question by question, so you can see which sort of points, in the work that they've understood or they haven't understood. So the feedback appears like this. So this is a note for myself to show you some Google Forms. So if I come out of here and I just literally want to go through some forms with you. So so this shows you, this is a German task that the pupils that completed in year 7. Remember in Google Forms that when you do quizzes, you have to type in your name. There is nothing like that in Google Forms. You have to set a question in Google Forms asking them for their name and surname. And we do that, and then we ask them for their class. So we can look at the data then across the classes and see if there are inconsistencies between classes. But remember in Google Forms, sorry, that pupils have to type in their name, otherwise you won't know who's done what. What's really good with Google Forms is you can you can insert a video, you can embed it. So this is a video from YouTube that my colleague Katrin has created. It's a video from YouTube, so you can embed anything from YouTube into Google, because obviously YouTube belongs to Google now. So if in doubt, it needs to go on YouTube, and then it can be embedded anywhere. And then these are multiple choice questions relating to the different parts of the video, different slides. It says which slide the questions are from, and then that is one example of how we've used that as listening work. Okay, so you think of the forms as something just reading, but that is listening work where they have to watch it and then answer. This is science. This was a science task. Once again, name and surname, class, and then you can put pictures in. Okay, we put bilingual questions in for year 7 so that their parents are able to help if it is necessary. Something that we've adopted as a policy for the lockdown, in order for parents to feel that they are part of the loop. So you can put multiple choice pictures in there, and then you've got some pictures of experiments. And all sorts of types of question here are possible within Google Forms. This is another one with the past tense. Okay, there was a Spark page for them to read, and there was a practice on quizzes and a gym kit practice and a Quizlet practice, and then this was then the work that they needed to complete it at the end. Maths, same thing again. They put first name and surname separately, then classes, and then there are videos embedded once again here, and then pupils will then complete some work on fractions. Okay, where the maths department has also put pictures of, there are pictures of questions here in, so that pupils are able to do that. What is this? This is a German task. And you can see here different types of questions with multiple choice. So once again, if you have the multiple choice option and there's only one correct answer, that means then that they are really easy to self-mark. If you put questions where the children have to type their own answer, they are far, far more difficult with self-marking, because you have to then type every possible spelling of the word, and if you want them to write sentences, that gets really problematic with the self-marking. Obviously you can do it, but then the chances are you'll have to go through them and mark them yourself manually, because invariably children are not going to write exactly the same wording for different answers. And then this is timetables work. They have done timetables tasks every single day of the lockdown in year 7, alongside their maths work. And then, this is once again self-marking. Every question is compulsory. And that's, those are the examples of how we have used Google Forms over the lockdown to engage with the pupils. Really good, because you can release the feedback straight away. And then also, from a teacher point of view, the marks then appear in your grade book within Google Classroom, without you manually having to answer all the questions. They are quite a lot of work to set up. And in the maths department as well, they have like gold, silver and bronze tasks, and then children decide which path to follow, and that's all set up then within the Google Forms. Okay, so I've shown you the Google Forms, dangos the Google Forms. Next thing we're going to look at is Quizlet. And for me, this is the be all and end all. This is the one that I've used longest. I've been using it since 2008. When I taught in Bro Morgannwg. Used it for a very long time. I've got everything, all my vocabulary on Quizlet now, and I know from experience that it really, really works. So the best way really of showing you Quizlet is to go straight in and show you a set of questions. So this is the set that I've created. And the best way really is for you to get a flavour of it to start with, is that we play a live game. So get your devices ready. These are political questions. You're going to play as individuals. So what happens here, if you want pupils to play as a team, they go and sit together, and only one of them in the group will have the correct answer to a particular question. So everybody will have the question, but only one of them will have the answer on their screen. So we are going to play individually. Oops. And there's music. So you can do two things now. You can either scan the QR code, or you go to quizlet.live and put in that number, so 627 925. So if you're on a phone, you can scan that with your camera, because you don't need a QR code reader these days. You can just scan that straight with your camera. There we are. So it is working, because the first people are in. Louise and Kat are in straight away. Da iawn. Lowry. Bore da Lowry. So Lowry is joining us in the department in Bro Edern in September. So it's good to see you here this morning, Lowry. We're really excited about you joining the department, despite the fact that you're pinching my classroom. But that's another story. I'm going to be classroom-less in September. It makes me very, very sad. But you're having a very nice classroom. I'm sure you'll be pleased about that. And Megan Rose is joining us as well in the English department in September. So bore da Megan. Okay, so 18 of you are in, either by scanning the code, or by putting the code in. So 18, 19 people are still arriving. So all answers in this quiz are place names. And as I said, they're all based on politics or politicians mainly. So let's see how you get on. So 20 of you are in. We just press create game. It gives you an animal to be. And then we start the game. Off we go. And then we have this funky music as well. So usually the pupils in class will use this on their individual devices. I will have this scoreboard on the screen. And you know, in class we always, well, in normal times, we always used to use it as the Quizlet Live team version, because it would force them then to talk to each other. It helped with oracy, and the questions were all in German. So obviously, in order to be able to, they had to talk to each other in German, because they had to read each other the questions in German. And it used to help then with the speaking elements in class. Right, so how are we doing? So we couple on 8, pandas, foxes, ooh, mustangs. Not sure who the Mustang is, number 11. And 1 question to go, and we're about to finish. Oh, well done, Kat. Congratulations. So that gives you a flavour really of how this could work. So if I just take you out of here, you can see here, these are the answers, okay? And here are the questions that you've just had. And then you can have these as flashcards, okay? So basically you type them in like this, and as a result of them being in Quizlet, you can have flashcards. You have a learn option where pupils then go through them and have different, different questions to learn. There is a write option where you answer, you know, by typing in. University of Kent, Canterbury. I'm not going to type all of that in now. So that's the right option. So obviously for spelling and accuracy, that's really good. Here they have to type what they hear. This will generate a test for you. So you can have written questions, you can print it out. So having just typed in all the information, it will generate a test for you, different types of questions. And you can go through the options here. You can have matching, you can have multiple choice, true or false, or you can be really nasty and just give them 20 written questions. So that's a test option. Once again, you know, the low level quizzing, the low stakes quizzing, that's another, you know, option here. Then there's a match option that the children can play on an iPad where it's in a grid or on the screen where it'll look like this. So you drag them on top of each other and then they will disappear. And that, you know, that is another option when you're starting to build up vocabulary and things. That is really handy. Oh, I don't want to play it again. Nola ni. Gravity, that's another one where the words sort of drop and you have to type the answers in before they crash. It's quite stressful. And the option, the live option, is what you've just seen. Now, here at the bottom, there are different options. You can add it to a class, you can edit it, you can share it. There's information. You can see the progress here. Okay, and also there are different things here. And one of the things you can do is print. So having typed them in, you can then print them off as a list. So you can either have them as a table like this with a column and like that. You can put them in alphabetical order, or you can have them in the original order. You can have them as a glossary, which looks as if it's come out of a dictionary. You can have small cards or large cards. Now the large card option, this is on A4 paper. Obviously they're not massive, but I use those quite often in class, print them out, laminate them, always laminate them. and then use them as a card sort in class, or cards where children are able then to use the cards, or you use them as quiz trades where you use the questions, all sorts of things. There are so many options just from having typed the words into Quizlet. You can have all these options, including a paper version generated automatically with the formatting. All the lines are in for you to cut out with cards and things. So that is really, really handy. I can't say often enough how powerful Quizlet is for learning and for supporting pupils' learning in school. Okay, the other thing you can do here on the 3 dots at the bottom is to export. You can combine them with another set, you can export, and this is really handy, where you can just copy the text into something else. So we come back to that in a second, and that is once again something that is really, really handy. Okay, we're going back to the presentation. So we've played a game of Quizlet, and then we're going to have a look at Gymkit. And Gymkit, according to Catherine, my colleague, it's like Quizlet crossed with Monopoly, and it's really popular. And I've just realised I didn't open the tab last night for Gymkit. So Gymkit, Germany. Now, oh, that's a bit annoying. Longest email address in the world. Oh, password. Maybe. Yeah, okay, so we're in. Sorry about that. So here you can play. Oh, that's not the one I wanted. Where are we? You can play the same set. So I'll just show you how to do this. So you go to here, you go to export, you copy the text, you go to Gymkit, and you create a new kit. Okay, and we'll call it CSC English, and we'll say it's in Welsh. And then we will have a picture of a book. And then you can create with flashcards is the option that we want. Import flashcards. Here you just paste it in, then you need to flip them and create them, and then suddenly you have got a kit here ready to use. It's really that easy. So once you've got it in Quizlet, you can just copy it out. Now we're going to play this live. Okay, just for you to see how it works. Now we're not going to do 8 minutes this morning, we'll just do 2. The goal is the time, which is the 2 minutes, and we'll give you $50 to start. And then here, you answer the questions. So they're exactly the same questions as Quizlet, but you can earn money, and then you can buy yourself different things in the shop. So if you just go in now, if you go to gymkit.com/play, and put that code in, 22626, you'll see that you can answer those questions and earn some money. So Dave is straight in. Now the really handy thing with this again is that you can start the game despite the fact that not everybody is in. So I will give you a couple of seconds to join. gymkit.com/play. And then you need 22626. Okay, code 22626. We'll go in here. So if you're not in yet, it's gymkit.com/play, and the code is 22626. Now, the really good thing for modern languages teachers is that children will be happy to play this for hours, and the longer they play, the more vocabulary they learn. you know, and you can set a time limit, you can set them a target of money to earn, you can run the game in different ways. So just give you a flavour here. So collectively you've just earned $1,000. So you answer the questions. I would go into the shop now. If you go click on the shop option, and you can buy yourself an option where you can double your money, or you can have an accumulator. So if somebody could go to the shop, then we, oh, dyna ni, Louise is upgraded to streak bonus level 2. Yeah, so you're getting the hang of that now. People are going into the shop. And obviously it's not crucial, because at the end of the day, all you want to do is answer the questions. But for the children, once they've answered so many questions right, then they're able to buy these things, and it'll allow them to buy more and more money. And it's not, you know, unusual in a 10-minute game of this in class for a child to have $1 million euros or dollars. Well done, Sue is in the lead. You can see the money is going down as well as up, because lots of you are now spending money in the shop rather than. So, the money. So after the 2 minutes, Ella, Sue, and then in the lead, we got Victoria. Well done. Victoria is victorious. Excellent. So that gives you a little flavour of Gym Kit. Now, the other thing that's really good with Gym Kit is the Kit Collab. Okay, and what this means, you know, loads of these quizzes are based on teachers asking questions and the children answering them. But the pupils, once they've joined the game, okay, they can send a question in. So this is what we're going to do now. We're going to do CSC English Kit Collab. And then I put it 15th of the 7th, so we know which day it is. Okay, next. Once again, I need a picture. Oh, there we are. That was like 3 clips. Right, so we're in. So we will give you 2 minutes at the end to play the game. But for now, what you do is ask the questions. So as this will go through now, you'll see how it works. So you need to go to gymkit.com. Well done, Dave. Dave knows it needs no instructions. Be like Dave. So gymkit.com/play. You put that code in, 87122. And then once you're in, you're able to ask a question. So you need to submit a question with multiple choice. And what's really good is that they appear on the right-hand side. So I can either accept the questions if I'm happy, or reject them. And what we can do then is that you all contribute your questions as you would do in a class. And then at the end of the session, we can play a game using the class questions. So we're waiting for the first question to come through. Okie dokie. Oh, right, okay. Thanks, Dave, for that question. What day is it? Oh, I'm going to reject that because I think it's Wednesday and Thursday hasn't been spelt correctly. So we'll reject that one. What is the weather forecast for tomorrow? Oh, excellent news. Thanks, Sue. What month did lockdown begin? 3 years ago. And Shakespeare was born. Lovely. Thank you. Is there more than... Oh, right. These questions have always been really interesting. So you can see now the green people are the people who've sent a question in, and the red people, we're still waiting for them. How many teeth are sharks? Oh, right. Diolch yn fawr, Preston. Raising a baking powder. Thank you. So they're all questions on different things. All different aspects of different subjects, obviously reflection of who's here today and what's their speciality and things. So I think, oh, how many letters in the Welsh alphabet? Too many. And okay. So what we can do now, I'm going to start the game. Okay, so start the game now, and then you can have 2 minutes answering each other's questions. So this is, you know, really good for the pupils, isn't it? So if you're looking at the end of a unit to bring everything together, they can create their own questions on the subject. You can, you know, vet them on the right-hand side. You can put your big whiteboard off so that the pupils don't see the questions coming in, so that it's all a surprise. And then you can then click, and then you can play a quiz using those questions that the pupils have generated, because far too often, you know, we don't give the pupils enough opportunity to answer questions as well. No, we give them loads of opportunities to answer questions, not enough opportunity to ask questions is what I'm trying to say, sorry. Okay, remember the shop? Remember you can go to the shop to buy yourself an upgrade? But bear in mind there are only 45 seconds left, so don't spend all your money at once. There we are, half a minute to go, just about. And then we can go on and look at the final few things before we finish. Well done, Kat, still in the lead. Ella's taken over. So we're about to see the rostrum again. Who's in the lead? There we are, 5 seconds to go. So Preston, 112, Ella, 123, and Kat, ooh, also 123, how controversial. So if you viewed the report here, it would show you how many questions everybody's answered. Okay, so Kat, 32 questions, how many were wrong, and then the accuracy level, so well done there. So that, once again, really good feedback here. You can see I always look at these, especially with doing new vocabulary, always use these to see how different pupils are coming along with different things. Okay, so that is Gymkit. So you can create a quiz in Quizlet, just copy it over to Gymkit. You need to find yourself a picture, which is really annoying. Just choose any random picture, and then you can run the quiz or the kit collab where the children can write their own questions. It's really, really powerful. Now you can create 5 kits on Gymkit before you pay. And any more than that, then you need to pay. I pay it personally out of my bank account every month. I pay it in dollars. I quite like paying things in dollars because I'm not quite sure how much they cost. It's a few, I don't know, $5 a month or something, but I use a lot of this and I find it really, really handy, especially with bottom sets. They love this, and, you know, learning vocabulary suddenly becomes a real pleasure. Okay, so we've looked at the different options there. We're going to look very quickly at Kahoot, which is another option. It's really good in class. I'm not sure how good it is for working at home. We've done lots of work with the children in Bro Edern since they've returned from lockdown over the last few weeks, with the check-in, catch-up, prepare. We've spent a lot of time discussing their work with them and what they found effective. We've done lots of questionnaires. They've ranked our resources. They've written top tips for teachers. So at home, I'm not quite sure if this is the answer, but in a class, you know, it's quite exciting at the end of a lesson. Once again, you can have really good feedback. You can play it virtually in the classroom. You can play it at home in their own time. So if you go to kahoot.it, once again on your device, I have a very short quiz here for you to try out, and this is the last platform I'm going to be showing you. So here, where are we? CSC Saesneg. If we click on play, and once again, you can play a live game together. So that's what we're going to do now, not do that's the option for homework. So this is the option for the classroom. And we're going to play the classic individual option. So what you go to do now is you've been to kahoot.it, and then this is the game pin, and you can put a track from YouTube in the background, in the waiting room as the children log in. So here I put a German song in, or I put some vocabulary film in, or somebody speaking German, so they can do listening exercises while we're waiting for everybody to log in. So once again, that is really handy. We're in the option at the moment where it gives you animal names, which is fine, you know, if that's what you want. So you can hear the really annoying German song. Okay, so there are 14 of you in. So this is the code. I think once we start this, it's too late to join because it goes in real time. Everybody has to answer the same questions at the same time. Okay, so this is one where you can't stagger the beginning. And this is why it's really good that if some pupils are really slow logging in, that you've got something going on in the background, so they've got something to listen to watch. Okay, so Bantani, start. Just the 4 questions. So you click the colour you need. There we are. So English in German is English with an SCH at the end. I'm having trouble with my controls here. Next. Okay, so well done, Yellow Sloth. You were the fastest person there. The next question. What is Welsh in French? Welsh, not Wales, Welsh. Yeah, Le Gallois. Oh, Yellow Sloth still ahead, well done. What is music in German? Be very careful here. Yes, in German, all nouns need a capital letter. So Musik with a capital M, the blue option. Oh, the wise bison is now ahead. And the last question here, what is English in Welsh? Da iawn, Saesneg. Sais is an English person. So, okay, so we have a podium. Now I don't know who you are, the shining glider, or the expert snail, or in the lead at the end was the wise bison. Congratulations to you all. So you can see here, next. And then you can see here, 60%, and then there's feedback here and you can play again. So there are different things here can be really, really handy. Okay, so Kahoot.it. Right, bringing everything together is the last thing I want to talk to you very quickly about. So On Google Sites, we've brought lots of things together. We've had a Google site for Year 7 all through the lockdown with all their instructions in one place. And we've blended, not just blended the learning, but we've blended the quizzes where they follow a Spark page presentation and then they have a video explaining it. We've done loads and loads of videos of staff explaining work to the children. Then we've done a quizzes then a more difficult quizzes. We've ranked our tasks with medals, and then gym kit, different targets. They are obviously of the same vocabulary, and then it'll explain then what they need to do as their focus task. But that would have been the build-up. All those different tasks would have been the build-up for a focus task that we set then on Google Classroom for them to have feedback. We've written parental guidance like this, so that you know that parents are really clear what types of quizzes and what types of activities that they would be. And then when you put the links for things into Google Classroom, they look like this, so that the pupils then just click on the thing and it takes them straight in to enter the game code or quizzes. It takes them straight into different activities. Sometimes we ask them to send screenshots, for example, of their scores in gym kit, so that we can give them then house points and things. That's something that we've done. That's what they would do then. This pupil has sent me 4 screenshots. This is my Year 8 bottom set, and that's what he has done here, sent them through to me. Okay, another pupil from that same class. Yeah, so bringing all the stuff together, that's how we've been doing it. So any questions? Now here, as I said, this is interactive. So that now will take you straight to the gym kit game, straight to the quizzes. So if you want to show your colleagues different options in quizzes, these are all links to all the things that we have done during this morning, and they're all in one place. So lots of MFL teachers have done virtual classrooms, which I'm not quite, didn't really want to do. So this is my virtual gallery really, so you can access things. This is today's presentation as well, if you have a phone. And then these are 2 examples of questions, different types of questions you can put in Google Forms. So I've shown you different examples of Google Forms, but these are for MFL teachers, but it's sort of the same thing, that you can put options with sound and things like that. They are 2 links there to Google Forms created by Joe Dale, who's an MFL whiz. Okay, so diolch yn fawr iawn. Hwyl.